Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts. It's the last day of the month, so that means month in review. Of course, I'm using simple stories for the record collection, and I pulled out this page map sketch from November of 2016 to document my November photos. Now, you might notice that there's not a lot of photos on this sketch, and when I was going through my photos for November, I didn't have a lot. This was a really tough month for me back in November of 2024. I had lost my grandfather at the beginning of the month. So, one, there wasn't a lot of pictures, and two, the pictures that I did have mainly revolved around taking care of things that needed to be taken care of. So, I didn't want to include those. I do end up including two photos that represent his death, but I tried to really focus on the other photos. I am going to be putting my journaling on two 4x6 cards and adding them to a flip flap, so I will be covering up the two photos that are a part of that. The photo that's going to be flat to the layout is also one of my photo collages from my Canva templates, so I was able to get 4 photos on that little photo collage. Of course, I'm going to be adding that little pre-made embellishment that I've been adding to all of the layouts. And I can't believe we're in November. I can't believe I have completed 11 layouts at this point for month in review. I'm looking through all of my scraps, and this is why I chose this sketch, because I thought it would be perfect to bring in a ton of different scraps. So that's where I started. Some of my smaller scraps. A lot of the scraps do come from the 6x8 paper pad because it does have that smaller scale, which I think works well for these smaller papers. I think that the number paper has been one of my favorites, but it's been hard to use. It's just so busy. And even in the 6x8, when it is a smaller scale and I'm able to see more of them, it's still not something that I have been using a lot. I originally thought I was going to use this orange as the background, but I actually decide against that. I'm going to build up all of the squares that are going to go around the layout and around the photos. And then I'm going to realize that the sketch actually calls for a border around it to kind of enclose everything in. And so I decided that I would use the orange paper for that, and then I'm going to mat everything on a white piece of cardstock. So once I got everything to what I thought would work, I decided that I would go ahead and start putting everything down on the orange paper. And I didn't really think this through. I put it in the center of the paper, so I'm going to end up cutting around 3 sides when I probably should have gone down to the bottom or up to the top, so then I would only have to cut out 2 sides. But that's hindsight, and we always can think of better ways to do things. So if you're going to recreate this sketch, I would highly recommend pulling it all the way down or going all the way to the top, giving yourself a small border. I went all the way to the edge because I knew it would go all the way to the edge on my layout, but then giving yourself maybe a 1/2 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch at the bottom, depending on how much border you want around the orange. So as I'm getting that paper down, let me just talk a little bit about some of the photos. Over on the left-hand side is 2 bags of popcorn. These 2 bags of popcorn are actually from Nicole's daughter's fundraising event. This was the first time that we've had them, and they are amazing popcorn. If you ever have a fundraising event with this type of popcorn, which is called Double Good, I highly recommend it. I chose a bag and Eli chose a bag. Eli chose jalapeno and I got the milk chocolate popcorn, and let me tell you, mixing those two is chef's kiss. This year we got 2 different bags. I think I got like caramel popcorn. Eli got jalapeno as well. Again, mixing those two, so good. So shout out to Nicole and her daughter trying to raise money for cheer. Gave me some amazing popcorn, which was kind of nice because the day that we got it was a day that we got home after a really rough day. And then right next to that is the game that is absolutely watched in our house every single November, and that is the Florida State game. So I'm going to just say one thing: go Noles. And then that is the only 2 pictures that I get on the left-hand side of the layout. I am going to do a lot of embellishment down at the bottom of this layout, so using up so much, but I still feel like I have so much left in this collection. Over on the right-hand side, you can see that there are 2 photos of Eli. One photo was his perm was just rocking it that day. Had really cute curls. He struggles sometimes with those curls because he is a boy and not always understanding that you do have to wash it and care for it and put product in it and all that stuff. He just wants it to be naturally curly, which is not going to happen with the perm. But that particular day, he was looking really good. And then the photo right next to it is of him in the car. That was the day of our Christmas photos. After our Christmas photos were done, we had gone into the store. He was wanting to figure out what type of cologne he wanted to wear. So we went in there and I purchased a sample pack. I think it had like 40 different colognes in it so that he could go home, try them on, figure out which one he liked, wear them to school, ask his friends about it. And then he ended up getting the one that he liked for Christmas that year. And then the photo collage above it has a post that I posted on Facebook about my grandfather's death. There's a photo of Robbie on the couch just looking stinking cute. I did not get a photo of the stats from my YouTube channel that I had been getting throughout the entire year. I'm assuming because it was a crazy month. However, I was able to pull these stats from the YouTube app. So it does look a little bit different than all of my other ones, but it's the same information. And then right above that, it's very hard to see right now, but right above that is a picture of 4 gentlemen. This is one of those stories that I want to remember forever. And I'm so glad that Month in Review gives me the opportunity to put a picture of some random strangers on my layout. You can't really see their faces. I made it really small so that there's no really detail in it, but the story behind it is just amazing. My mom and I were at a diner that my grandfather loved, and we were having breakfast. And the reason we loved it was because it is a small town diner, meaning that there are regulars in this restaurant all the time. So these 4 gentlemen, I'm assuming, have breakfast together on a regular basis just based on the way that the staff was handling them as well as their conversations. So this was just a little sneak peek of the conversations between these 4 older gentlemen. One gentleman said, "I've lost a good amount of weight, but now I have a lot of loose skin." To which another gentleman said, "You need a tummy tuck." To which the first man responded, "Nope, I just need a butt tuck." Then a third gentleman jumps in and says, "Not that anyone cares, but people tell me I look really healthy for 85. And then the fourth gentleman says, "Oh, you look really good." To which the gentleman who said he looked really good at 85 says, "I wish that was a woman saying that." It was just a hilarious conversation. I'm so glad that I captured it. I actually had texted it to one of my friends, and so I had it, and I knew that I had that conversation. But it was a day where my mom and I were having breakfast. I was reminded of my grandfather, how much these 4 gentlemen reminded me of him. And in that moment, it was just an amazing thing that I was able to experience with my mom because we were having a really rough time that day. So I knew that that picture and that story had to be on my month in review. And then I only have 2 other photos. One photo is of us making our final arrangements, and then the other photo is of us and Eli right before we took our family photos. It took me a while to get all of these photos down on this orange paper. I love a good grid. I think a good grid has such a dynamic effect to a layout, but man, are they challenging. I had a hard time getting everything straight, even using my T-square ruler. Also trying to pick out different papers that would coordinate with each other, especially with this collection, because the papers are so vastly different. From that plaid that's on the left to the cameras and the number paper on the right, you can see that there's such a variety in these patterns, but I am here for it. I love the way that this grid came out. I think that the different pattern papers really played into the chaoticness of this month, but contained within a grid, which made it pretty awesome. So I do know that Nicole is playing along this month as well. I'm so excited that she joined me, and I have been pushing her a little bit. You know, she's got a lot going on as well, but I will have her video posted below so you can go check it out as well. And so let's talk a little bit about next year. Month in review for 2026. I do not think that Nicole is going to be joining me. She's got a lot going on. She's got some things that she's got to take care of in 2026. So it's just going to be me. And I had posted over in my Facebook group whether or not I should continue this. A lot of you guys responded that yes, you would love to continue it. A lot of you guys were like, this is something new that you have tried this year, or maybe that you want to try next year and so you want me to continue it. So then I have to figure out what collection to use. I do not believe that Simple Stories, or any other company for that matter, is coming out with a month in review similar to For the Record. I have been watching all of the collections that are being released. I know I purchased this collection in November of last year. So the fact that there has been no announcement of a collection being released, I just don't think it's going to happen. You guys know that this was the first time that I have created an entire year of month in review, which I am really excited that I have all of 2024 documented, or I will next month. All these little stories that got documented has just been really amazing. Having one collection to use has made it really easy. I just pull out that collection and I just work through it. I have used a ton of the collection. I feel like I have pretty much killed it. There's a lot of stuff that is left, but I don't know that I would use it because it's not really my style. So I don't know what to do for next year. Like I said, I posted it in my Facebook group in regards to like what I should do. If you guys had some suggestions, a couple people suggested using a digital collection, which would be nice, but that is a lot more work to do a digital collection, and then also having to do 2 other digital collections for Kelly Bell. I don't know if I have it in me for doing 3 digital collections a month. Another suggestion was to use Bella Boulevard My Life 365, which came out last year. I do have that collection. It is very themey, which you guys know I'm a themey girl. I love me a good theme. But I don't know if I like it for the month in review because I really liked the general things about For the Record. Things like the typewriter and the sunglasses and the office supplies and things like that. I liked that simpleness of this, and it didn't really play into the months. It is a contender. I do have it. It's maybe an option. Nicole also had a hear me out in regards to the month in review, so that's an option as well. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I do believe that month in review will continue for 2026. I've just got to come up with an idea for it. All right, you guys know that no layout is complete without some stitching on it, so I do add just a simple stitch around the 3 sides on the layout, so it makes it look continuous across. I did do my stitching offline and slow the video down here so that you can see that. The white on white stitching is such a dynamic thing for me. I feel like it just adds so much to a layout, but it's tone on tone, so it's not like you see it right away. And now I am ready to embellish. I think I spent a majority of this layout putting this grid down together. You may have noticed that the number paper on the far right did come from the 6x8 paper pad, so I had to kind of cut that, and I knew that I was going to add my title to the upper right hand side so I could cover up that seam. I love the way that this November turned out. I used this embellishment that I probably wouldn't have used anyways. It framed the word November perfectly. It had the little florals at the top, and then I had that navy and cream color stripe around a majority of it. I just love the way that that came out. And then over on the left-hand side, I'm also going to add a little embellishment cluster to fill out some of that pre-made embellishment cluster. I'm not going to add a lot to that. I ended up adding an orange flower as well as a paper clip and a push pin. And I'm also going to add an adhesive brad to that. And I'm going to call that area good. Then I added the glasses over on the far right-hand side, as well as a little floral piece down at the bottom. Of course, I'm going to pull out all of the Novembers that I can. So I did add the little circle number 11 over on the far right. And then I'm going to start to work on these 2 sections down at the bottom. I'm going to create a little scene with a ton of embellishments. A great way to use up embellishments is to create a scene. And like Nicole says, the scene does not have to make sense. So I am just adding anything that fits down in that area, basically. I did know that I wanted an embellishment to cover both sides of the layout. So I started out with that little floral, cutting it in half, having one on each side. And I knew also that I wanted to start out with the sticker book because those pieces are flat. And so it was going to give me the opportunity to add some dimension to this by adding those flat pieces down first. Of course, I'm going to add some chipboard, which is going to add some dimension. And then I'm also going to pop some of my embellishments up on some fun foam, as well as some foam adhesive strips. So I have some different varying sizes on my embellishments. So I added a typewriter as well as a little envelope. and a tape recorder, which I feel like this is one of my favorite pieces in this collection, even though it doesn't make any sense at all. I just think that it is such a cool piece. I also added a little roller date stamp that says today's the day, a couple of different office supplies like scissors, the stapler, the binder clips, and of course adding that number 11 to represent November. So if you have missed any of the month in reviews for this month, I do have a playlist listed below. I have a playlist listed for all of my month in reviews, and I'm not sure if I should break it up. So I'll have like month in review for 2024. So I'll just have 12 months in there. Or if I'm just going to keep all of the month in reviews together. I'll probably decide that next year at some point. But right now it just has these layouts in it. And I also did one layout sometime last year that's in there as well. And that I think is a 1-page layout. This little film canister is another one of those that I really think is cute. The saying on it says, "We take photos as a return ticket to moments otherwise gone." I've talked about this before, but one of the things that I love about scrapbooking is the ability to go back and remember these moments. If you have never taken the Apple test, if you just look up online the brain Apple test, when I took this test and found out that I was a number 5, it was really eye-opening in regards to how I value pictures. Really helped me understand that scrapbooking is a hobby, but it's also extremely important for my life. So go check that out if you haven't. It's a free test that you can take. It's super simple. Which, before you look it up, basically what you want to do is picture a red apple and then go look it up and see what number you are. And you'll be surprised that I'm a number 5, especially as a scrapbooker. All right, so I did add my numbers to all of my photos, just like I've done for all of the other layouts as well. I really like the way that I dated the photos, but man, it's a lot of work, and doing it for 12 months has been a lot. So for next year, I need to find another way to date my photos because I don't want to go through another 12 months of that. I also pulled out the same die that I've been using for the year, and this time I decided to use Nicole's technique, but I'm going to go ahead and just do 3 layers of the orange because I really wanted that orange to elevate off of that plaid paper, which is where it's going to go. And I didn't want the white to stand behind it. So I'm going to add that 2024 down, and I do have to end up moving that little binder clip as well as the push pin to get the 2024 to fit in that area. And then that is it for November month in review. Here is my final layout as well as some close-ups. Let me know in the comments below if you think that I should continue month in review next year, as well as any ideas that you have in regards to what I should use to document month in review next year. All right, if you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.